Hello, welcome to Camp Chat. I am Candyman Raj. Today I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Matt the Southwest Backpacker.
You guys?
Today we are in the Jemez Mountains. We're on a place called Holiday Mesa. We came up through Highway, 367?
Forest Road 376.
Forest Road 376.
Yes.
I was close. So we're about, it took us through the Gilman Tunnels. Which kind of has its a little bit of fame.
Yes, it does.
Beautiful area, and you'll see, we'll show you a picture of the Gilman Tunnels.
Gorgeous area. A lot of people like to stop there, take pictures and photographs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we came through that. We're about 13 miles north of there on a place called Holiday Mesa. We've been here before. This is a nice, quiet, end of the road spot.
Yes, it is.
We like to go to the end of the road. So it is really a beautiful morning. We decided we better get Camp Chat going this morning because we're hearing thunder rumbling in the background.
Thunder rumbling in the background. There's clouds
are building up
above us.
Probably about 11 in the morning or so?
About 11 in the morning. You're going to see some cloud shade action come over as we're doing Camp Chat, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. But it is a beautiful area. We got up here yesterday afternoon and we were here for a couple of hours, and then the clouds let loose.
Clouds let loose.
And so that kind of delayed cooking dinner and all that, but we got between a quarter and a half inch of rain. We spent some time in the truck.
We did.
You know, and and the temperature drops like crazy. It went from 65 to 50 in about 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It was pretty ridiculous. You had to put on an extra layer.
And it never did really warm up after that. It stayed about that the rest of the night.
It did.
Yeah, it was nice last night. It was a little damp, but man, I had a great night's sleep up here in this fresh air up here in the mountains.
I slept really good last night too. Brought the hammock and the tarp, and had a wonderful sleep.
I was a little concerned about all the condensation that had formed inside my tent because of all the moisture in the air, but that turned out to not be an issue.
Being able to ride it out without a bunch of stuff dripping down on you at night.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Well, this is our second Camp Chat of the year. Kind of feel like I'm falling behind a little bit. And to be honest with you, we had some other trips planned, and I know I've mentioned during the last Camp Chat about my dog friend Chip. Well, you know, Matt, I couldn't make this stuff up. I was sitting in my recliner, nursing an ailing back, and this crazy dog comes ripping into the living room, does a couple of 360s, and he has his rope toy hanging out of his mouth, and he just takes a flying leap and lands right on my knees when I'm stretched out on that recliner. And Chip is an 80-pound dog.
He's a big dog.
It's like someone dropping an 80-pound bag of concrete, and my right knee took the worst of it. And so I've been about 5 weeks not doing a whole lot, trying to stay off it. And so backpacking for the near future is going to be out for me.
Sure.
But, you know, I've been trying to let it heal. But, you know, when I work, you know, I walk 6, 7, 8 miles a day.
Right.
And it's hard to heal when you're on your feet that much. So it's taken a little bit longer than it should. So I guess maybe I'm making excuses of why I'm a little bit behind. But that's it. I couldn't make that stuff up. It just happened so darn quick. And man, he messed me up really good.
Well, and something like that, I mean, when you're talking about legs and feet injuries, you want that stuff to heal, and you definitely have all of your upper weight and everything else pushing down on you constantly. And so, something like that you would definitely want to ride out and take care of. And if you have to, take off a half season or a season to do it, so be it, because at least you can get out and still do it.
Right, and that's the hard thing to swallow.
It is.
Man, the weather's been decent, and I've had to stay off my knees just to try to heal, and so that's a difficult thing. And like you said, looking forward, you know, when I'm healed, maybe we'll get out. I know you guys were talking about backpacking the Pecos Wilderness.
The Pecos Wilderness, yes.
And so tell me more about what you have planned. I would like to do that if I'm healthy enough.
Absolutely. So our proposed plan is to actually go down to Jack's Creek campground trailhead area, start from there, and I believe it's Panchuela Trail that takes you all the way out to Pecos Baldy Lake.
Okay.
I'll have to double check that, but it's about 7 miles all the way out to Pecos Baldy Lake.
Okay.
And then from there, we're going to stay the night, get up the next day, and hike up to the Trail Rider's Back, which is a big flat ridge that's about 12,000 feet that is below Pecos Baldy.
Okay.
but not that far, and it'll actually take you over to Truchas Peak and Truchas Lake,
Right.
which is where we'll stay the next day and hopefully summit Truchas Peak, and then come back down and hit up a few lakes on the way back. So
What is the elevation of Truchas Peak? Do you know right offhand?
I don't know offhand. I do believe it's just below 13, if not
Okay.
13,000.
Okay.
It might actually be 13,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say 12.5, something like that, but it's up closer to 13.
I think it's more of a 13,000 foot peak. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a hike for the gasping people, huh?
If you've ever been above tree line and you've gone up to 12, 13, 14,000 feet, you really realize how high you are up and what you're conquering at that point, because it's a whole new animal than kind of being in the forest here. And
Right. Well, you know, your limitations really come through at that point. You can't push yourself. You've got to slow down. You've got to do things slower because the oxygen is so much thinner that
right.
you know
Right.
you'll
And
kill yourself if you don't.
altitude that you're up, and you don't want to get altitude sickness. And most people do not live at the elevation that you and I live at,
Right.
and so they can't acclimate to it quite as quickly, and it can be a very severe thing. I heard about somebody in Colorado, I think last year, who went and just hiked up in the Rockies and did not acclimate to the elevation and ended up passing away
Wow.
due to acclimation sickness. So if you ever do get acclimation sickness and you start feeling sick, the best thing to do is to drop back down.
Go
in
downhill.
elevation
Yep.
And not go any further up until you can either acclimate or
Just realize that you can't
or
do
just
it.
realize that
you-
it might be better off not to do it.
Your
Yeah.
life isn't worth that pretty view,
It's
you
not,
know.
and not to risk it, and it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but it can actually be a big deal for some people.
Yeah.
So just be aware that that can be a factor, and for most people it isn't, though.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, we do have a little bit of an advantage as far as the elevation that we live at. We're almost a mile high.
We are.
where we are at
Exactly.
home. So
Exactly.
that's you know that helps. That's a lot of acclimation. If someone came up from sea level to where we are here, and the elevation here, I think we looked at is about 8,700 feet, something like that.
About right where
Give-
we're at here.
Give or
Yeah.
take a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, if someone came up from sea level and came up to here in a couple of days, you would probably get some sea or altitude sickness here even.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't affect us, and that's a beautiful thing.
That's the nice thing
Yeah,
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, got anything else planned? Anything else going on? I know this is way down the road, and we'll probably have another camp chat before then. But I know Matt is making big plans to do a Green River trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, going back up to the Green River with a big group of friends this time. And we're just going to do the upper stretch, but it'll be a 5-day stretch along the Green River. And plan to bring the drone with us. I got the DJI Mavic Air.
Yep.
And the section that
That'll
we're
be
going to
fun.
do is actually not in the national park. So it's the BLM section, and we're hoping to get some really good aerial shots and some footage. And again, every time I go out there, it's just always a new trip and
Yes.
always a new experience. And I think people that have seen the videos,
Well, I was just going to mention, if you're curious about the Green River trips, Matt has several beautiful videos that he's put out. Just Nat Geographic quality with some of the stuff that he's
thank you.
filmed.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, it's the Green River series. It's I think it's an 11-part series, and it is the upper and lower half. It's a 114 or 112 mile stretch, so plenty to see. If you want to check that out,
Right.
come over to the Southwest Backpacker
Absolutely.
channel and look for the Green River
Go
series
over
there
there
on
and
my
check that
channel.
out. And I'll have you know, these guys, they all invited me to go, and I would love to make the trip. It's just kind of a bad time of the year for me. You know, I work for the public schools, and that's kind of the beginning of the school year, and, you know, taking time off is kind of tough during that.
It is.
So one of these
It
days, I will just bite the bullet and say they're going to just have to survive without me for a week or 2 weeks, however long it takes. But I just didn't feel comfortable doing it this year, although I am damn jealous
Oh,
that I'm not going, because that is a trip I would love to make after watching all the
And
videos that he's done.
It's very affordable
It's-
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Just a spectacular, you know, something completely opposite is what we normally do up here, you know, up in
Right.
the mountains. Completely opposite surroundings and lots of water, and you know, and that's a trip that you want to make in the fall or the spring. You don't want to do that in the summertime, right?
Don't want to do that in
Blazing
the summertime.
hot.
It's really, really hot. I mean, you can try to do it, but the idea is to be off the water by around noon and then kind of hang out and enjoy the shade in the afternoon. During the summertime, there's no time to enjoy any kind of shade. It's just always hot, even in the shade. It's like a baking shade. So,
And that presents a whole nother element, is heat stroke and sunstroke.
Right.
And
Right.
you're on your own down there,
Once they put you on the water, unless you're doing a guided tour, which the stuff that we do is not. We do our own.
Yeah.
We guide ourselves.
You're your own guide.
Right. We go with a little guidebook, and we've done it so many times now that we could be guides for other people, so to speak. But
Right.
yeah, the sun issue is really a factor, and once you're on the water, you basically gotta wait until your ride picks you up on the way out. But the sun is such an intense factor out there that staying cool and staying hydrated is your number one priority.
And I want to bring something up. And Matt has been on all sides of the spectrum there. As a matter of fact, he's told a story about where the boat did not come to pick them up. And how long were you on the side of the river waiting for someone to come pick you up?
So yeah, it was a total of about 3.5 days before we were eventually picked up.
Yowza.
But it was day 2.5, I should say, where we realized nobody's coming, and we had to hike from the river bottom all the way up to the very top, which was about 1,400 feet of just solid sandstone cliff, like the Grand Canyon, but a little miniature version of it. With the cell phone, that we weren't sure if we were going to get a signal or not. We did. We were able to call for help.
Luckily,
they reassured us someone was going to come down the following day, and they did, and they had food, and everything turned out okay. But a little bit of a spooky experience.
absolutely.
And to use a little bit of hiking knowledge and survival skills to hike up and back down. We were down to just a potato. That was it. We cut it down into 4 pieces because there was 4 of us. We were down to just a potato, and that was about it.
Well, that leaves me scratching my head is how an outfitter can forget a group of people. I
won't name the name of the outfitter.
That's not.
But I know that Moab and many of the other outfitters have told the story, because I guess the story has gotten around. And yes, it was us.
How word travels, huh?
And yes, exactly. But I don't think that. Hopefully, they will have never made that mistake again. But
if they're like the rest of us, we all make mistakes. But the whole deal is, hopefully, you can learn from those mistakes.
Learn from the mistakes.
I mean, things happen.
And if those kinds of things come up, really own up to the fact that you screwed up, and
just try to make it right.
And try to make it right. Yeah, that's the thing.
Right. Well, I think I'd like to add a new segment to our camp chats. Something kind of a few minutes long, something we can chat about, some of the devices that we use around camp. And one of the coolest things that we've been using for the last few years is the Southwest Backpacker and his drone. So we've shown a little bit of it on Camp Chat, but we've never really talked about it, so I thought this would be a good opportunity for Matt to kind of spend a couple of minutes and talk about this toy that we use around camp quite often.
Absolutely. So about a couple years ago, I picked up what's called the DJI Mavic Air. It's and actually it's a foldable drone, so right now it's all folded up, and it's got this cover on the front, and this is the magic part about it. It's got a 3-axis gimbal, so no matter which way this thing is going, it will always stay straight with the footage. But the other kind of magic thing about it is this thing unfolds. So,
very compact.
Yeah, the arms kind of fold out here on the bottom, and then the front also folds out, and then it's got 2 antennas here on the bottom, which are also kind of landing gear. But in a nutshell, you slap a battery here on the bottom, and you pair it up with your cell phone, and it has a controller, and the video quality goes up to 4K. So
it is beautiful.
It is gorgeous, absolutely stunning, stable footage. Even in 20, 30 mile an hour winds, we've flown it. A lot of the really quality footage that I've got on some of my recent footage videos on my YouTube channel have come from this drone.
Yeah.
So it does a really good job. It will stream the footage live on your cell phone as you're flying around, so you can see what's going on, and everything is very stable. Always comes back to you if you lose connection. So
how high can you take it up?
okay, so
I know there's limitations and laws.
In America, in the USA, you can only fly it up 400 feet legally, according to the FAA. But it does go up to 640 feet, which I believe is 500 meters.
Okay.
That is its limitation. As far as going out a direction, I've gotten this guy out about 2.5 miles before the battery was running down and it wanted to come return to home. So
that's amazing. You can get out that far.
it is, and I was actually on top of a mesa where there was no trees or forest or anything like that, so I had a good line of sight.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the distance was really awesome. But it also has active track, so if you want to go take a hike with you, you can just launch it, put away the controller, and have it follow you around as you're hiking, and it will do its best to try and avoid tree branches and things that are in the way, and it does a pretty good job.
What
So
an awesome feature. I've seen some of that on
all in all, I think this is a really good piece of kit for an outdoor YouTuber like ourselves.
Right.
And I would highly recommend, if you guys want to go out and get one of these, to do so. This is one of the smaller drones in the Mavic series. Again, this one's called the DJI Mavic Air. They also make the Mavic Pro and the Mavic Pro 2, which are also awesome. And then they've got some much bigger drones that are not foldable and not so portable.
More for the professional use.
Right. But
Right,
for
right.
backpackers, I would say this is a really good quality camera for getting really good, high quality, stable video.
Right.
And getting a pretty decent flight time. So
a question for you is,
Yeah.
what does something like that cost, Matt?
So something like this, when I bought it, I got the Fly More combo, which comes with a couple extra batteries and a couple extra propellers and things like that.
And also an insurance policy, right?
Insurance policy as well. It was $999, so it was
Okay.
right at $1,000.
A little pricey, but
It's
you
a
get what you pay for.
A little bit pricey. I think nowadays you can get this for about $799 if you don't get the Fly More package. If you just get it with one battery and the controller, just the very bare bones basic.
Right.
But you know, wait a little bit. Here in a year or so, they might drop that in price
even
because they
more.
might come out with the Mavic Air 2. You just never know.
Right, right.
And usually, when something like that happens, they lower the price
Yeah.
of the older version. So
Well, he's got a bunch of videos on his YouTube channel of some great footage out in the Daddles and other different places. And I have a lot of video on my YouTube channel as well with this same DJI, a lot of the Chama Canyon Wilderness and stuff.
Right.
So if you're curious about the video quality, get on there and check some of that out.
it works with Android and iOS.
Okay,
So
great.
yeah, it's compatible with both platforms.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate
you're
that.
welcome.
Neat toy. I tell you what, I can't wait to get out here in the wilderness and he starts launching this so we can bring it back and look
Yeah.
at some of the footage, because you get a bird's eye view of where you're at. And
And if there's any questions you guys have about it, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them for you guys.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think that's going to probably conclude this episode of Camp Chat. It's been a good one. The clouds are moving in. It's getting dark
Starting to
quick.
get darker.
Yeah, we might want to get these cameras and electronics picked up before it busts loose. But I want to thank everyone for watching Camp Chat here on the Canyon Raj YouTube channel. Also, I want to say thank you to my co-host, Matt the Southwest Backpacker. Be sure to go to the Southwest Backpacker YouTube channel and check out all of his content. You'll probably even see a video of this trip overall.
Absolutely.
I think he's going to put something out. But go there and check it out. Subscribe. Thumbs up are always appreciated. Any questions, any complaints? Complaints can go to the Southwest Backpacker
Take it
channel.
to him. Take it to him, man. He's the boss.
and we always appreciate the thumbs up here on Camp Chat. New subscribers for the Canyon Man Ride YouTube channel are also always appreciated. So, that being said, I think we're going to end this episode of Camp Chat. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up.
Thanks, guys.